Hey guys, welcome back. Better Than a Let's Play episode 17. This is season 2 MoonQuest edition. I'm Enigmaus, and today we are all over the place, except the moon. We're not going to the moon just yet, but I have a consolation prize for you. Today we're going to build our rocket and put it on the launch pad. That's why we're all over the place, is because there are so many things that we had to do to get ourselves squared away for this very important moment, that I didn't really have a chance to build any new structures or do any time-lapse stuff. It's just all been building things, and many of them. So we're actually going to start from the bottom up. This is where we're going to eventually be building our rocket. This, of course, is our oxygen tank filling station. And then down here we've got... there's not much change here except for this one very important machine, the enrichment chamber, and there was a viewer who pointed this out and it was a fantastic tip. Is this guy will allow you to take coal, which we've been using a lot of, converting iron into enriched iron, and then you take the enriched iron and you use even more coal to convert it into steel dust. Well, you take this enrichment chamber, which has its own fantastic grinding noise, just like all the other Mechanism and Galacticraft machines, and you get compressed carbon. One coal makes one compressed carbon. One coal is worth 10 carbon in the enrichment chamber. No, not the enrichment chamber. In the metallurgic infuser. Right? We've got carbon here. One coal is worth 10 carbon. One compressed carbon is worth 100 carbon. So you're basically getting 10 times the value out of each piece of coal just by running it through the enrichment chamber. So we've got all this compressed carbon into the metallurgic infuser, and then it just sits there, and when this has room to take another 100 carbon, one of these guys will disappear, and then this guy will be full. So we could do a lot of converting iron into steel. Now you can see in my inventory I've got a lot of stuff. I've got some compressed aluminum, compressed bronze, and compressed steel. I've got a tier 1 rocket engine, a nose cone for our rocket, 4 rocket fins, and currently 6 heavy-duty plates. Now to make these heavy-duty plates, we need these compressed metals that I've taken the liberty of compressing and setting aside in the appropriate quantities to make what we need for the shenanigan, and they go in the electric compressor just like this. Just like this. I did that the first time I tried to make them too, and it doesn't take long. You can see it's moving through the progression bar fairly rapidly, and we get the heavy-duty plates. So heavy-duty plates, not particularly complicated: steel, aluminum, and bronze. And then we use these a lot in the moon base stuff. And basically, if you look at the recipe for the nose cone, it's a redstone torch and 3 heavy-duty plates, right? So that's already quite a few metal bits going into the nose cone. And then we look at the engine, is 4 heavy-duty plates, the same oxygen vent that we use in our oxygen system, the same tin canister that we used, the old-school vanilla flint and steel, and the bouton made with stone. Just one whole block of stone becomes one little bouton. But it's fine. It's not the button that makes it expensive. It's more of this stuff. And these aren't super cheap either, but it's not too bad. And then we get the rocket fins, which are... compressed steel and 4 more heavy-duty plates. I think the total count of heavy-duty plates to make the tier 1 rocket, all of it, is 31. So if we do the math, that's a lot of metal. And then we've got 8 compressed steel plates to make 4 fins, 2 each, times 4 is 8. Takes a little while of just kind of moving through each component piece by piece, being methodical, getting it done. They're not complicated recipes. They're just, you go through the materials always a lot faster than you might think that you would. While I'm here on this screen, I'm looking at energy storage and production for when we're on the moon. I'm kind of tempted to make some heat generators and a tank full of lava and see if we can't set up something similar to what we've got directly in front of us on the moon. I wouldn't be surprised if lava turns to cobblestone as soon as you place it, just because there are all kinds of other mechanics in place. Like, for example, you can't take liquid glowstone, the energized glowstone, above height 120 and place it, otherwise it just turns into a block of glowstone because it's so cold up there. It's a thing, so I'm not counting on it. We're going to try, but also looking at the solar option, and can we make enough of these to accumulate enough power via the solar thing so that we can run our base not only through the day but also through the nighttime. So we have to be able to produce twice as much energy as we need to make sure that we have energy for the entire day-night cycle kind of thing. And I'm pretty sure it's these ones that we want. These ones look really neat, but I'm pretty sure these are the ones that we're going to want. We might just make a whole bunch of them because some of them are not that expensive. So we've got all the components now for the rocket. I think I covered, all the additions that I made. Just the enrichment chamber for getting the coal to get 10 times more out of the coal than before. Down here we've got 200 and almost 210 buckets of fuel ready to go. And what I've done is, rather than set this up to fill tanks, which we can still do exactly as it is, I've routed the piping through the facility to the launch pad because we have to use a fuel loader. We're going to go up and take a look at that now. If I can find my way out. You can see actually down here the piping, that's the fuel pipe extending up and going over under the platform for our launch pad. And I bet you we're just going to go out prepared because there always seems to be bad guys crawling around on this roof out here trying to get the best of me. We're clear for now. So this is a whole other thing, a whole other build. The rocket launch pad is a multi-block structure, and I think you know what, that's what I'm going to do. This is what it looks like when you place it. Ignore that pipe sticking out of there. When you place it, it just looks like that. And if we go to the recipe by typing launch, you want rocket launch pad. And it's 3 blocks of iron and 3 compressed iron plates. So it's not steel plates, it's just regular iron plates. Makes 9 rocket launch pads, which is exactly what you need to make a 3x3 multi-block pad. And then after you place the last block, it changes and it becomes this tiered sort of step-up kind of thing, where you place the rocket when you're getting ready to launch. And then we have this, the fuel loader, which is a handy-dandy machine that we place like this. Now, obviously, it's not receiving fuel right now because we've got the switch turned off at the tank. When we're ready to go, we're going to put just one of our energy cubes into here. I'm not going to worry about wiring it for power all the way out here. And that will power it. And then we'll flip the switch to pump fuel to it. And then it will load the fuel into our rocket and get it ready to launch. Now, we still have to make... it's an item loader. I think rocket loader. I'll show it to you before we actually go into space. There's an item that you can use if you build your rocket with chests in it. There's an item that you can use to load items from your inventory into that chest. You take them out of your inventory, you put it in the block, whatever, the item loader, and then it loads it into the rocket for you, which is very important because there's a lot of things that we need to take to the moon. And every time I think that we're kind of close to being ready, I think of something else that we need to add to the list that never stops. It just grows and grows and grows. So we're definitely going to be incorporating some storage into our rocket because I think it'll be necessary. And in order to keep things kind of straight, I've started a collection of things. This chest, everything that's in this chest will eventually be loaded into our rocket and taken to the moon. So we've got lots of dirt. Some of these is for generic nerd poling so that we can get around a little bit easier. I still don't have flight on my power suit, so I'm not counting on flight. We have to keep the nerd poling in mind. Oak saplings and seeds are primarily for oxygen production, actually. It's not so much for apples or wheat to make bread. It's so that we can get things growing that will produce oxygen that we can then collect with an oxygen collector and store and compress and then load into our oxygen tank so that we don't suffocate after like 10 minutes on the moon. We've got a stack of bone meal specifically to accelerate the growth of the trees. These will be our primary source of oxygen, and then I'm just going to let these grow naturally. I've got a reinforced portable tank with 32 buckets worth of water in it, a wrench so that I can pick it up once I've set it down without losing the contents, and a bucket so that I can move the water around. That's just the preliminary. We're going to get a bed that we're going to take with us. I'm not the world's biggest fan of beds in Minecraft, but in this case it was pointed out to me that there's, no matter what precautions you take, there's a good chance you might die. And if you haven't rested in a bed since you got to the moon, you could be sent quite a long ways from your spawn point with no oxygen gear or any of that. So it's kind of a less than ideal situation. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to get a bed in here. We're going to get some building materials for the facilities that we're going to have to build. We'll take a reasonably close look at that. Some of them are specific technical things, like the airlock controller and all those other things. Others will just be like bricks and glass. We don't need to do a half episode on bricks and glass. So there's one more thing that we absolutely must do, I think, before we assemble our rocket and put it in place, and that is to make the chests that are going to be going to the rocket place with us, to the moon, into the rocket. Whatever was left of my mind is now officially gone. So we could put up to 3 chests into the rocket. So that's what we're going to do. And now we're going to head on down here. And this will probably be the point in time where I realize that all this time, yes, I did need an energy source for our NASA workbench in order to make it work. So this is the UI. If you were concerned about the recipe and your own shenanigans and you wanted to find out how this whole thing goes together, you can just type rocket, and we're building a tier 1 rocket. Don't bother with the tier 2, even if you had the materials, which you might not even have. You can't, well, you could, but go for the tier 1. It's what I'm saying. It shows you the layout of everything, and it shows you what you need. You need the nose cone that we've got, you need the rocket engine, the 4 rocket fins, and then 8 more heavy-duty plates comprising the body. And then if you want to put chests, you put them in these guys here, and that will incorporate them into the rocket, and then out of that you'll get the tier 1 rocket. So that's how we figured out how to do that. And now we just go like that, and we've got an engine, and we've got plates, see, tier 1 rocket, and blah blah blah. With storage space 54, ta-da! And when we carry it around, we're actually carrying it now, and I wish I could remember the keybind for how to show what just happened to our rocket. I opened the door and our rocket disappeared. Where did it go? That's not very nice at all. The door ate our rocket. Okay, so I can't remember the key to change my view to an external third-person view, but by going into the inventory thing, you can see kind of what you look like is you're carrying a rocket over your head, which I think is quite entertaining. Others may disagree, and that's fine, but we've got our thing, and there's our rocket on the launch pad, prepared to accept fuel and items into its inventory. I think we'll set up the machine to do that here. Once we've accumulated all the items that we need in order to set up our moon base on the moon and thoroughly dominate the bad guys that we find there and do whatever else it is that we need to do, then we'll be going to the moon. So maybe 1 or 2 episodes, I think. I'll try and do my homework and kind of get things done in stages and then just show them off in batches rather than making you watch me do all the individual components. That might not be so fun. So if you're liking what you see and you want to be notified when the next video comes out, someday we will get to the moon. It's pretty much guaranteed. You can always subscribe to my channel. That's one way to be notified. Another way is to follow me on Twitter at Enigmius1 or on Google++ Enigmius1. Please do leave your comments and feedback in the information section below the video. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.